Hello everyone, it's Moonkin FTW back with another episode of the RCT3 Coaster Challenge. And in this episode we're tackling the Lay Down roller coaster, which is a flying roller coaster but then made by Vekoma or Arrow. I believe it's Vekoma actually. And yeah, we're going to tackle this one. I'm actually kind of a fan of this roller coaster. I really like this, this idea that, you're just flying around. I've never personally ridden a flying roller coaster before, maybe in the future. Anyway, it starts off inverted, so you're actually looking up at the sky, and then you turn around, and you turn around with this half loop into this corkscrew and everything, and then it just goes into an overbank turn and into a half loop, again with corkscrews. And you can see that the terrain is, goes below the regular level, and I'm kind of thinking of making a cave out of rocks there. I had a couple of inspiration things. And I'm also trying a different color scheme. I'm really trying to move away from the regular color schemes that I usually have. And I'm also going to try and make some pre-made supports for this one. So I always said that the inverted supports always take more time, which is true. But I'm going to see if I can try and make them still with Moby Steel Jungle. But I will make them just kind of basic, if you will, to kind of find a middle road where I can still use Moby Steel Jungle with these very nice like flanges and of course the footers that line up at the ground, which, if I use JCat Steelworks, they don't. But it not take too much time. So I'm just going over the roller coaster to see if I can do that. And of course there are some non-inverted parts. So like this, where I can use just some basic pre-made supports that I already had. So I think in this combination of a simple inverted support with these already pre-made designs I had, I think I'm still able to make something quite nice. Now, in terms of the color scheme, I had the idea of going with pink track and black supports. And I believe there is one or two roller coasters that actually use this color scheme. It's very unpopular, but I actually think it looks quite nice. It's very unconventional, but I do think it's quite striking to look at. So here I'm looking at the terrain here, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Shy Guy's rock set here to, first of all, make this kind of rocky area. And I'm going to use these rocks to kind of create a cave that you fly through. And I think this will be pretty awesome if you ride it. So I'm just using a selection of different rocks here and then slowly but surely putting them on top of each other to eventually make a cave here. I'm just making sure to look it up close and see, you're hitting your head or the trains are hitting the rocks to make sure that it looks kind of realistic. I'm also going to make sure that I place some rocks around this area. And yeah, kind of make it like a small, I don't know, like a crater, if you will. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but anyway. So that's kind of the idea. I also put some mist particles there, so when you're flying through it, you have that kind of mist effect. I think it always looks kind of nice. When I use like a small cave or something like that you fly through like a tunnel, I try to use the mist effect. I kind of like that. Anyway, let's move on with the supports. So again, I'm going to try and make some supports here that line up and everything, and this will take a bit more time compared to the other designs, because again I want to try and maybe use these supports from Moby Steel Jungle. I think that just looks much better than the regular ones, and excuse me, that was my phone. So anyway, we're just going over the ride, and I made another pre-made support here. This is for the banked sections that the train might hit, so I figured, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to use a different type of support to make sure that the train doesn't hit these supports. So we're just going over the ride very slowly. Like I said, it does take more time, but it's I think the payoff is worth it. And when I have an idea or have some inspiration, then I'm more than happy to spend a bit more time on the roller coaster. And also, like I said before in this, these episodes, I'm not really in a rush. So if I have a nice idea, I prefer to just work it out and just see if I can make it happen. And this is one of those episodes where I'm like, I really want to make this kind of inverted half loop, if you will, where you fly through a section of rocks. I'm like, okay, I'll make that. And I want to actually use Moby Steel Jungle because I really like the way they look. Yeah, it's going to take a bit more time, but who cares? And all in all, it didn't take me a lot of time. It actually went okay-ish, so this might be something I will use in the future. I'm not sure if there's any like inverted roller coasters left, but I'll have to look at the list. So here's another thing that I'm going to use, and you'll see that in just a bit. I'm going to use the fences from, I believe it's Weber's foliage set, and you'll see that come to life in just a bit. Now for the footers, of course, they're very important because they really add to the ride. And of course the catwalk. Catwalk is also a staple of things that I use when it comes to building roller coasters. I really like how they look. It's a great addition. You know, if you look at any realistic roller coaster, they always have a catwalk, or almost always. Now for this roller coaster in particular, sometimes I don't use it, but in this one I really wanted to do it, which is build a path around the entire roller coaster, which, you know, it takes more time, but I think it's worth it because it can look very beautiful. And I'm also going to use a different type of fencing. In the future, I either use diagonal pathing in my own fences, or I use these kind of curvy paths and I didn't use any fencing at all. But here I'm going to try and use the curvy paths with fencing, and you'll see exactly what that entails. I have another idea here that I want to execute, which is kind of make a, I'm not sure if it's a pier because a pier is at a beach, kind of like this platform that you can go up close to this half loop inversion. Like, you know, if you're a guest and you want to see it up close, you can you know, stand there and look at the roller coaster. And I'm gonna make this into a small food court. So you imagine like, oh, you know, we want to sit down, have a lunch or whatever, get some food, and then you can actually sit here and watch this roller coaster. This really cool part where you have that inversion that goes into that little cave I built. So yeah, you can see how you know, when I have inspiration or stuff I want to build, the execution then really follows along quite nicely, if I say so myself. I'm going to just make a small garden there where the entrance is to the ride, and I'm going to make a few more rock sections. So like here, and again, I'm making sure that the train doesn't hit these sections of rock, because of course I want to avoid that. So here I'm pausing the game and making sure like, ah, does this look okay? I'll make some adjustments here and there. And I also like to add these bushes to create a little bit of foliage alongside these sections of rock. I always like the look of that. So here's the food court, just something basic, you know, drinks, burgers, fries, nothing out of the ordinary. And once again, using Beastie's path mods to create this curvy kind of pathing, if you will. So we're just going throughout the pathing and making sure everything is kind of you know, covered by this Beastie's path mod. And more and more it's taking shape, and I'm starting to, you know, it's all coming together right now, and I really like the way it looks so far. So here we have the fencing in question, and it does require a little bit of fabricating from my side. This is the first time I'm also using this mod. I've never used this before, actually. So it does take a bit of working around, and you know, I've used this, I'm going to use this definitely in the future, so I'm sure I'll get more handy, I'll get more feeling with it. But for now, it is what it is. You know, it's the first time using it, so it's not going to be absolutely perfect. But it's still going to look very nice. I mean, if you compare this to the stock fences, where you cannot make any diagonal fences at all, or even any curved fences, this looks miles better. So while it's still a bit of a, you know, experiment for me, it's already looking miles better than what you would normally have. It does mean that this roller coaster does owe me a lot more time than usual. Because again, you know, if I experiment with new mods, or I have a certain idea, like, you know, I'm gonna make a small cave for this section. Oh, let me use Moby Steel Jungle for this. You know, then this roller coaster, of course, is gonna owe me a lot more time. So this roller coaster actually owes me a decent amount of time, and normally this footage is sped up 800%. This time it's sped up 1000%. So yeah, this roller coaster does owe me a decent chunk of time, but. You know, like I said, if I have a couple ideas, I really want to execute them, and it's coming together quite nicely. We're actually almost done. We just need to add a mechanic, and I'm going to open up the park so the guests can walk around. I'm going to add some benches here, so, you know, the guests can, I guess, sit somewhere here and there. Some trash cans for, of course, the trash, and of course, last but not least, some foliage, because I want this not to be completely barren. I'm not going to put any trees outside, because I'm actually going to save this and maybe upload this to Park Crafters or RCT Go. I'm not sure yet, because it has a piece where it does go underground, or like the ground is lower, if you will. But yeah, all in all, that is pretty much the end of this, well, not saying this episode, but the end of creating this roller coaster, because of course we still have to ride it. And as you can see, the beginning is quite slow in terms of the ride, but I actually kind of like that. It really adds to this kind of feeling of, you know, that you're riding this, and there's this kind of moment of suspense before you kind of drop down. I kind of like that. I mean, realistically speaking, I think the pacing might be a little bit too slow, but I like it. So let's go ahead and ride this. Now there's one thing I actually had to do, which is flip around the footage, because normally this would be facing normally, if you will, but then the actual inverted side would be upside down, which, you know, is actually not correct. It should be the other way around, you know. Now you're upside down, you're looking at the sky, and when you're flying inverted, so to say, then it actually makes sense. So I had to flip this through the editing program I use, and you'll see that come to life right now. So now we're actually on the correct side, and you see now we're, you know, facing the correct way, if you will. So that's why I had to flip the footage into this nice little overbank turn here. Oh yeah, looking forward to the rock section here. We're gonna look at it right now. Here we go, into a half loop. Oh, that's nice. Into that little mist area, like fog area. That's nice. Into the little, yeah, I guess it's not an airtime heel. I guess a bunny hop or something. Right, into this helix. And the pacing could be a little bit faster though. Maybe through upping the chain lift I could switch it, but there you go. It's actually not bad. And into a final half twist, which brings us upside down again. Nice. I actually really like the layout. Again, it's, the ideas that I've used are quite nice. I like the curvy pathing. I like this color scheme. I'm really a big fan of the color scheme. I'll try to use that more. And yeah, I'm all in all, I really like this design. This is one that I thoroughly enjoyed. You know, one of those old school Vekoma Flying Dutchman type of roller coasters. It's just awesome. Let me just go ahead and save it right here. Again, I might upload this to Park Crafters. I mean, if I don't upload the ride, I'll just upload the map for everyone to enjoy. So I'll definitely do that some time. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.